and welcome back to our third and final matchup of day number 2 of the group stage for the Xenon Gaming Series Spring Burst. My name is once again Nautical, being joined, as always, by Chaka, and we are very excited for what should be a very fun matchup. It's the winner's game between Coastal Gaming and Team Valkyrie. These two teams had some very exciting game ones, but now they square off in a game to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, like you said, this is a qualification match for Group B. We had it yesterday where Team SBO fell just a little bit short against X Osiris to be the other team qualified alongside our 4 invited teams who automatically get that qualification in the playoffs. Now it's between Coastal Gaming and Valkyrie who get that opportunity. We saw both teams play, and I mean, we could talk about Coastal Gaming for just like a little bit and about like what their roster, who's on their roster, and like how they actually play. Because again, we saw both teams on the same map play the exact same way.
Yeah, indeed, they were very aggressive, at least on the side of Coastal Gaming, when they played up against Bros Without Hose. And it's going to be Gav running, Jolts, Engage, Russ, and Resisted. Like we talked about earlier on, you and I don't really know much about these guys, but we sure learned a lot from them in that first game. We learned that for a team that doesn't really have much experience, at least in the T3 scene together, they are ready to contend with the big dogs.
Very aggressive team, willing to just put themselves in very awkward positions that the other team will not normally check or be aware of. And against the Valkyrie, a team who kind of plays I would say, just a little bit more structured style of siege. As we could talk about Valkyrie just a little bit more too, as we kind of like compare the both of them as well. Like the way Valkyrie plays is that they kind of just already have a set idea of how the map works. And they try and aggress based off of that. It's again JJ, Deity, MT, Hitman, and Bride. Deity having like a really good game, especially on like some of the entry engagements. Hitman and Bride also kind of breaking up some rounds on Clubhouse that really turned the tides in their favor. And hopefully Valkyrie can do that again in this.
Yeah, indeed. And well, this is a really well-rounded roster from Valkyrie. You've got JJ, the team captain, who can be clutch in the moments, but like you said, you've got those fraggers as well. And just looking at this game, looking at how these two teams square up, I feel like it's going to be a little bit interesting because of the fact that, like we said, Coastal Gaming, a very aggressive team. Well, Valkyrie, they just finished dealing with a very aggressive team in the form of Wasted Talents. We said many times, and we saw many rounds in the last game where Valkyrie struggled a little bit against that aggression from Wasted Talents, but then again, they also had their moments where they were able to shut it down. As we've got our map bans ready for you, we're not going to be seeing Clubhouse for the third time, as we Coastal Gaming to take that off the board early on. Nighthaven banned out first as well, not too surprising as well. And you've got Oregon, that standard map off the board, and Skyscraper, interestingly, being the final map banned out. It's actually a really strong map for Coastal Gaming. In the playoffs, they beat Exosiris on it, and it's going to leave us with Chalet as our map for tonight.
Yeah, Chalet is also a really good map for Valkyrie, just like how Clubhouse is a really good map for Valkyrie. So Coastal Gaming not wanting to test the tides against Valkyrie like they did against Bros Without Hose, because maybe they don't think it's a good map for them to try out. So going to Chalet, that's also very interesting because, like I said, very strong map for Valkyrie. For Coastal Gaming, you don't really have that much data on it compared to Valkyrie in the qualifiers.
Yeah, and Valkyrie, you said they had a 2-1 record, at least in the second qualifier, and well, it seems to be at least a fairly decent map for them. And well, Coastal Gaming, we don't have a ton of information on them, but I feel like just because it's a map that's been in the pool for a little while, it's actually been one of the more picked maps recently. I feel like we've just kind of seen it on the rise as teams have figured it out. Both these teams should kind of have an interesting idea of how to play this out. And it's going to be Valkyrie starting on the defense, so I wouldn't be too surprised we see them jump out to an early lead, especially if we see solos left on the board, because of the fact that, well, we talk about it so often, you've got those big 3 defensive ops that you have to worry about, and one of them is always going to make it through.
Actually, Valkyrie are going to be starting off on the attack, and also will be starting on the defense. So, I mean, you're correct about that, because attack comes at a premium nowadays. We talked about it on Clubhouse and how attack just isn't like as good as it used to be, so you kind of need to build up your attacks to gain some confidence on the defense and use the tools that you have available to you, because most teams nowadays they have that permaban and the tuber route for defense, and then they ban out which of the other six operators would you rather ban out? The Azami, the Solus, the Fenrir, the Mira? Like, you kind of have to pick your poison at that point. And so on Chalet in particular, uh, we'll see what the bans shape out to be like. We may see Coastal Gaming target banning Valkyrie anyways and getting rid of the Solus just outright.
Yeah, that Solus ban would make a lot of sense because of the fact that there's so many different wooden floorings that you have to worry about. So much destruction, both horizontally and vertically, for the defense to have a little bit of fun with. And well, that Solus can be so crucial when it comes to giving away information, when it comes to gaining information as well onto where the attack is coming from. As we're going to get into the bans, and well, I would imagine we see a Ying. No, actually, it's going to be the Brava off the board first. That means one or the other in terms of the Dokkaebi or the Ying is going to make it through, and both of those are very powerful operators. So I wouldn't be surprised that we see the Ying banned out here because the Dokkaebi is a little bit less so in terms of prevalence. But okay, we're going to have both on the board. It's going to be Flores taken off the secondly.
Prof and Flores leaving the Ying and the Dokkaebi up. You have a lot of tools now to get rid of a lot of these power positions, even if the Flores isn't available. You still have things like frag grenades. I know a lot of people have a lot of varying opinions on frag grenades now, but they're still quite effective in clearing out utility. Azami's going to be banned out last, meaning that you most likely will leave either the Fenrir or the Kaid, the Fenrir, the Kaid or the Tubarão up. But no, Fenrir is going to be banned, and Chalet is actually a really, really good map for Fenrir. You want to be able to entry in a lot quicker. You can't really do that on on Chalet when Fenrir is left up and available.
And it's going to leave that Solus up on the board. We'll have to see if both these teams are really keen to utilize that operator. But curiously enough, we're going to head to Kitchen first, a site that's actually becoming more popular with teams on this map, at least in terms of the site rotation. We've seen it become more of that primary site. For a while, it was upstairs inside a CEO, and then it kind of shifted towards bar.
Attackers
But
need
now
to
Kitchen
locate and
nowadays,
defuse as many
very
bombs
strong.
as they can.
But there is that crucial win condition for the defense. It's going to be holding on to the top floor inside of places such as bedroom because there's so much soft destruction to worry about from above. If you lose out on the
Located a
areas
bomb.
up inside of areas like piano and inside of bedroom, it's going to be really hard for you to play on the site as the round progresses.
No 6 pick here from Coastal Gaming, but it's an interesting lineup. You have the Ying with the Candelas, the Capital with the fire bolts and the smoke. Then you also have the Nomad as well to deny some of the
10 seconds
flanks
to go.
here. This looks like it could be a straight up direct take
5 seconds to
into
go.
possibly trophy. You have no hard breach for the main walls in office or
Attackers are
dining.
moving to defuse the
So
bomb.
it looks like they're trying to angle up their prospects for a kitchen direct execution.
Right, trying to be a little bit aggressive here on the top of Mezzanine. He's going to take an opening engagement from Resistant, but nobody comes out worse for wear, so I got to go ahead and fall back to his more standard position, and we'll kind of see him
The attackers bomb
situate himself for the later portions of the round. Really aggressive lineup so far coming out from Team Valkyrie. They've got a lot of emphasis being placed on that top floor. I believe currently at least 3 members are situated up on that top floor, wanting to put a lot of emphasis on holding it down, and as it's going to be resisted, find the opening to pick. And with that Wamai off the board, just 30 seconds in, you're going to be a little bit more limited, actually a lot more limited on your
recovered the
utility denial capabilities because those magnets haven't had time to properly generate.
Yeah, that's the first pick on the top floor. You also have pressure building up just outside of it. That's a very long angle that Jokes has out, and aggression from Hitman. They feel the pressure coming up to them, so they feel like they need to do something about it. They get crucial operator in a crucial position, and they still have this top floor control too.
Yeah, and losing Hitman as well is another big blow to the defensive Valkyrie because, I mean, you use your Evil Eyes, your main
attackers have
way
recovered
of
their
denying a
diffuser.
plant later in the round, and you can still use them to gain information. Still going to be a big blow, and another one's going to fall. It's going to be a very long-range engagement from Jottles as he's going to shut down another player up above, and it's going to be Coastal Gaming with an even more advantageous position. Bride just situated on the back of these floor stairs, trying to find another pick, but it's going to get even worse. Jottles finds another one. London being pinged out by the proximity line, but Rye has got a lot of work to do with over a minute to work with. If that really slow things down, really start to get the drone work coming in. Bry being burned away by the fire. Just take an engagement from West Main, and it's going to be running to shut him down. Coastal Gaming with a statement in round number 1 as they attack on one of the more favored and probably the best defender side on this map.
Yeah, we said the one thing about Valkyrie that they do a lot on Clubhouse, and that kind of repeated here on Chalet, is the fact that they like to play very aggressive. You saw a lot in that round where they were just swinging, jumping out, just trying to remove a lot of pressure, make sure that Coastal Gaming didn't get themselves set up in a map. But Coastal Gaming, an aggressive team themselves, are
Attackers need to
very much
locate and
prepared
defuse the bomb.
to deal with the aggression they can bring onto them. And remember, they had an opportunity to watch you play in that last map of Clubhouse. And Clubhouse, although it's very different from Chalet, Chalet is a very aggressive map for defenders. You're expected to get aggressive when you feel pressure build up against you because you don't want the attack to have full control of the map. So it's Coastal Gaming just very aware of how Valkyrie play on the defense and how Valkyrie move just in general.
Yeah, and with how open Chalet is as a map
Located by
as a whole,
attackers.
it really makes it more advantageous to the attack. When you try to get aggressive, at least without information,
seconds
because of the
left.
fact that they can just sit at long range, use those more powerful assault rifles, kind of punish you. Of course,
Attackers are
we
heading
do
out.
see now, at least most of the time, that Chalet is a defender side map, but that's mostly just because of the fact that it's a large map and there's a lot to clear out, a lot to deal with. And with operators like the Mira, can hold those long angles back from deep inside of places like Mezzanine. It does make it a little bit harder sometimes for those long range attacks, but still, sometimes favors the attack. And well, like we saw in the last round, he was just able to sit outside. At least resisted was at least to start things off and just kind of find something outside. And once again, you can see Team Valkyrie, like you mentioned, getting very aggressive as JJ, I believe, was the one running out there. Not going to get punished for it ever, so we're staying 5 versus 5.
Yeah, getting aggressive, running out, but then leaving areas such as Library Corner clear, and that gives immediate control over to Coastal Gaming, who immediately set up some post-plant positionings just outside the library window using the nomads to cut off rotations back inside of library, making that area harder to retake. Joe's though, Capital, very big. That means that they can't really go for this direct take near the stock player as effectively.
JJ might have had an opportunity there to find another one, but he opts to just go ahead and be a little bit more patient, knowing that he doesn't need to aggress too much now that Coastal Gaming have not only lost one of their main execute operators, they've lost a lot of the potential for map control because, like you saw, JJ found that tick down below, so that's a lot of the force that was
Attackers have
dedicated
recovered their
to
diffuser.
holding the downstairs cutoffs now off the board. Resistance going to have to get aggressive. You're going to have to potentially try and challenge on Premier, who's trying to get aggressive in his own right. Deity really wants to find this kill, and well, he's not going to be punished for this. And neither team is able to spot each other out. But Coastal Gaming trying to put a lot of focus on team control of this spot. Hitman going to fall, and oh, Empty, he's going to be the perfect operator to deal with Russ on the Ying. He's going to find another kill for it. Coastal Gaming now just a minute left, severely on the back foot.
Yeah, they keep finding trays, but like they're not really gaining much of anything. With it engaged on the other side of the map, finds that entry, immediately pushes up into piano to put some pressure onto the mezzanine player, but then you have to deal with the piano hall player. It's just so much to deal with from this defense, and even though you kill one player, there's already another player waiting for you. Empty dies, getting the double kill from the jump in on the window, and now he has 2 players to battle out.
And another thing worth noting is the fact that Engage is the last player remaining, and he has all of his hard breach still left in pocket. He didn't use it at all to try and deal with this mirror window, who's been a significant problem. Running going to be bleeding out on the top of Mezzanine. It's going to leave a low HP Habana all alone. Finally using some of that hard breach. MT confirms the triple kill for him. And well, you saw Coastal Gaming use some of the utility. They used the Habana, not the Habana, they used the Ying, they used their Nomad, they
15
sent out
seconds
flash
to go.
grenades in it. Didn't really convert into much because of the fact that they didn't have the hard
10
breach to
seconds
support
to
them.
go.
They didn't have the players in the proper positions to support the Ying, and well, the Warden also
5
didn't
seconds
really help
left.
with that much as well. Engage is going to sit back and try and find a little bit of time for his team to talk. Bry's going to finish him off as the time expires, and Valkyrie will tie us up after a successful hard defense. But really, they didn't even have to do much on site. It really just came down to the fact that they were winning on the roam clear.
Yeah, just aggressive defense from started us off with the very first pick, and then it just snowballed from there. And I think, you talk about the Habana, but I think losing the Capital, especially with how Coastal Gaming set themselves up to take that, was a really big issue because you usually use the Capital to clear things like Library Corner. If Library Corner is already cleared or you cleared it another way, then use the
Attackers
Capital
need to
utility
locate and
for
defuse the
on-site
bomb.
pushes, namely to clear these stock players so that you can afford to get a plant down behind the half wall, or you use it behind the long bar inside of the bar site. So, yeah, I think just losing too much in that round for Coastal Gaming for that execute in particular just really damned them in the end. And Valkyrie, just an easy cleanup, aggressiveness that just allowed them to take that round pretty dominantly.
mean, that really is the name of the game nowadays. We see that so
Yeah.
often. Teams just bypassing a lot of the
Left before
more
insertion.
strategic pushes, trying to win rounds based off gunfights. But looking at
5
this
seconds
round in
left before
particular,
insertion.
we've got two of the stronger operators in the meta right now. Actually, really
Attackers must locate and
a
defuse the
generally
bomb.
strong lineup. You've got that two route to try and deny, pushing through the snowmobile, and well, you've got that Solus to try and gain a lot of information and potentially spot out that Blitz, who Resisted is actually bringing for the side of Coastal Gaming. Would this be a rush here by the attack as they're working their way in towards wine cellar? You've got running on the Jackal as well, ready to support, and this round might be over in a hurry.
Yeah, they recognize that Valkyrie are heavy roaming off site. Not surprising, they are a very aggressive team. But the thing is that they just have to be very wary of the off-site positionings here because JJ is just below an open hatch in dining. Somebody could retake that hatch from Valkyrie and use that against them, but Coastal Gaming seemingly already have a read for it. They're going to take the top floor on top of that. They're going to try and use this fast push towards Trench and then use that top floor really, really quickly to make that hatch unusable.
Before it goes out, it's going to be shot out beautifully there. Beautiful read from the... Okay, and I was going to say a beautiful read by the Jackal, but an even more beautiful read by Subaru, but it's not going to end up going their way as we're going to trade to a 3 versus 3. Amty trying to retake from above, but the push seemingly has been slowed down a little bit for the side of Coastal Gaming. They wanted to have the numbers advantage, and they're going to lose it as Amty reads engaged like a book. And Coastal Gaming now on the back foot. Bride trying to get aggressive as well, using the mirror window to his advantage, even though it's facing the wrong way. And you've still got that blitz up. You don't really have much else, but Amty finally going to get shut down on the top floor. Resisted brings us back to a 2 versus 2, and Russ can do his job to try and support. They need to get in a position. They need to try and force themselves into a better position to get the site.
Only 2 players left alive here for Team Valkyrie. Drones are going to come in, so you got to really hold the entry here. JJ has to hold inside of blue, and he can't really afford to get too aggressive. Doesn't have an extra cell to aid him, but Bride does, and he's going to be playing inside of connector. That position already pinned down and smoked off. It's going to aid the entry here into Wine, but JJ is going to be there to cut it off with Bride ending it off with a literal bang. The Nitro Soul going to be the last one to get that kill, and Valkyrie with another clean end of round to seal the deal.
Well, just looking at that rush in particular, I think really the crushing blow was the fact that you lost your Ying so early on. You wanted to have that Ying alive to try and support the push in, and see, there you go. JJ, finding that first pick made it really hard for Coastal Gaming to actually push their way into the site and execute the rush that they wanted to, because you don't really have much utility to support the blitz. You just have to rely on your guns forcing your way through a single door.
Attackers
And
need
it
to
was made
locate
even
and
worse by the
defuse
fact that
as
you
many
only
bombs as
had
they
the
can.
Habana, who once again didn't really use much of its hard reach to actually assist with pushing into the site, rather than to try and just hold cutoff angles.
Yeah, they also didn't really push into Trench all that much to put more pressure onto JJ. If they,
Attackers
like you said,
located
would
a
have
bomb.
opened up that main wall into Wine, open that main wall into Wine, had somebody running through Trench, like the Blitz, for example. I was very surprised the Blitz was like not as aggressive as I thought he was going to be, but JJ just felt like a little bit too comfortable holding that like one angle
10 seconds
to kill the
to
first player, which was Russ or Jodels. I can't remember.
5 seconds.
On that Ying, on that initial rush there from Coastal
Attackers
Gaming.
are
So
moving to defuse a
yeah,
bomb.
just very crucial entry picks that JJ has found twice in a row. And now Valkyrie, they move themselves onto office and bedroom. Not only are they holding the site, but they're also going to be holding down below.
Well, and this means that through 4 rounds, we've seen all 4 sites on this map played. And something that you kind of have available to you on this map is all 4 of the sites can really be viable in their own ways. They all have different ways that they tend to play out. But just looking at this round, you've got that buck on the board for running, indicating that potentially Coastal Gaming might be trying to focus their take from below to try and put pressure on the active site player, maybe even use it to push a player out of mezzanine, but it's going to be a little bit harder to do that because you're more exposed to a player inside a fireplace if they go for the drop. But Valkyrie likely just going to put their focus on holding, like you said, a little bit more on below, because you've got Amity who can really support players inside a bedroom, find this player who's just situated on the double rappel. So Valkyrie with a beautiful read here to try and hang on to the site.
Yeah. Recognize that Coastal Gaming aren't going to be doing a library direct take, but is rather going to be looking to push and take control of the Solarium area. And they're holding this like they would hold Solarium normally, if they were playing inside of dining room and kitchen. JJ's on the main stairs. Aiding him are those ADSs, and he also has support down below in kitchen, the head holes. So really, just a lot of things for Coastal to clear. And I wonder if eventually they'll pivot because there's just a lot for them to do here.
Running might be spotted out here very early on. I believe Coastal Gaming have the pings on the player situated. It's Bry actually just watching the stairs down to Wine Cellar to potentially up into West Main, and that's going to force the rotation over from Running. He's just going to try and situate himself to hold the position and hold the cutoff onto Solarium, but the Incandelas are in. Russ not following it up. I believe the player, it was JJ, was actually blinded there, and surprising move to not repel in. I don't believe he had the support and had the information ready to him as to where he would need to look when he swung in. So Valkyrie just going to be thankful there that a lot of the utility is going to be burned out from Coastal Gaming. They don't have much left. They've got all the utility gone, actually, from Ying. They do still have, thankfully, the full utility of the Capital, and really even the Zofia to try and assist them as well. So just 40 seconds left. They need to try and rotate, and they haven't dealt with players from below. But I believe, actually, all but one player have rotated back to site. No, there's a lot of focus being put on holding from below, and it's going to punish the Coastal Gaming attack. This bottom smear defense holds beautifully, and it's all up to Resisted in a 1 versus 5. AMT does get down, but it's not going to matter that much. There's 20 seconds left. Resisted doesn't even have control from below, and, well, it's a flawless round. How about it from Valkyrie? As the kitchen hold from below works out beautifully, and, well, Coastal Gaming seem to be struggling a little bit here. They stalled out a lot in that round.
Yeah, Valkyrie were very set up for what Coastal wanted to do, which was that Solarium direct take. And you asked a question of like, why didn't the Ying swing in? Because there was somebody in the master bedroom waiting for that to happen. So if the Ying got a little bit too aggressive, even if they peeked the windows, the person on the windows, who I think that was Russ on the Ying, was just going to die. And Coastal just wasted way too much time on that Solarium direct take. There's just, I said it was a lot for them to do, and I thought they would have pivoted, but no, they just kind of tried to deal with it head on, and at the end of it, they tried to rush, take more gunfights, but again, they didn't really clear enough of the space. You just have so much support from JJ on the Solarium stairs, or who was sitting on the Solarium stairs, and you had that support via kitchen and dining, which they didn't even take the time to clear or drone out in the first place. So yeah, just a big struggle bus there for Coastal Gaming, who now suffer another loss with Valkyrie 3-1 up.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, and a lot of that just has to do with the fact that they need to get back to their aggressive playstyle. We saw that from them really well in the first round, but since then they've kind of struggled with that, at least when it comes to the later portions of the round, like we saw last time. They didn't really have much going for them. But looking at this bar site, you've got very similar line as what we saw the first time. You've got a lot of information on the board, Team Valkyrie, whether direct or indirect in the form of, well, you got a bulletproof camera, but you've also got the mirror windows to provide information towards when the push is coming into the library. You've got those Malushi Banshees to give away an attack position as well. Hitman just going to be playing aggressively inside of West Main, trying to deny any horizontal takes that Coastal Gaming might want to go for. Maybe a little bit of a cheeky play later in the round. And, well, Amty has been an absolute demon in this game. Just 5-2 now through 4 rounds, and he's looking for more in the most aggressive, the most forward defensive position likely possible. But Resisted through the drone hole is going to find Deity, and that's a beautiful opener for Coastal Gaming. Amty, like I said, just situated up above, trying to be that first point of ingress, but is actually, fortunately, not going to be him that falls first, and he's not going to be able to find much. Coastal Gaming now have the opening they need to try and force themselves into library.
Can't really do that anyways, because they've just allowed Bry to rotate back into stock. They didn't even open up the double window in games. That's actually very surprising, and that opening up that window means that JJ wouldn't be able to like rotate into that position in the first place because of the amount of phantom pressure that provides. So really, Coastal Gaming kind of biting themselves in the foot just because of like a small little thing of not opening up the window. And although they originally cleared that stock position to help them, to assist them onto that direct take of the site, they don't have that opportunity anymore. What?
The smoke works to perfection there, and, well, it's going to be 3 picks now in favor of Coastal Gaming. Valkyrie falling very far behind in terms of the man count, and Hitman might actually be on drone here. He's got a player just situated nearby inside a library connector, and he's got this player outside on the split window. Might be able to find here. He's got Bry actually retaking as well. So both these players for the side of Valkyrie working together to try and shut this down, but it's going to be a swing 2 for the side of Hitman, but his support is going. How about 3 for Hitman? As it's down to a 1 versus 2, the plant's going to be going down, and well, now he's going to be in a post plane. He's going to have that clocker
Attackers are
against him.
activating.
He might not have the right read. No, he does not. He doesn't look the wrong, or he doesn't look the right way, and Russ is able to shut him down from the top of Mezzanine. Coastal Gaming convert the huge man advantage they had into a round win and a successful attack on the bar.
Insane collapse onto the top floor. Originally, I thought like them not opening up that big window was like a huge issue, but like they said, well, no, hold this, and they just like ended up collapsing onto the top mezzanine area using the smoke, confusing one player, blocking off 2 lines of sight. So not only did they block off the mirror window, they've also blocked off the cubby doorway from the piano hallway to
Defenders,
help
protect your
disable
bombs
any
from being
support
defused by
that might
attackers.
come in through piano hall, which didn't end up happening because it was blocked off by the smoke. So Coastal there with a huge aggressive play. You said you wanted to see more aggression come out from them. Well, there you have it, and they actually used some utility in the process.
The big head scratcher for that round is, well, you saw the smoke help push out the player who was holding on that mirror window outside the
Yeah,
library.
it was
It was Warden. Like,
Yeah.
the perfect denial operator for that. Like, empty. What are we doing?
10 seconds
Like,
left before
use your
insertion.
glasses. I mean, that really was the crushing blow of that round. Like,
5
losing
seconds
that
left.
mezzanine control really was the fact that allowed Coastal Gaming to continue to steamroll through the site and just through the map as a whole. Led downstairs to Wine for the final defense for Team Valkyrie, and when we've got that aggressive lineup, we've got that blitz once again being brought out by Coastal Gaming. No Ying, no Capitao to support this time. So, well, it's still an aggressive lineup. You don't really have much in terms of execute operators to try and assist with that, except for maybe the Lion, but still going to be a little bit of a head scratcher as to what they want to do here with this blitz.
very interesting. They're doing the
Attackers
same
have located
offsite
bomb.
hold. Probably expecting Coastal Gaming to do another direct take, but you also have them spreading out just a little bit more, trying to put pressure on different areas of the map, trying to pinch out the roamers first. But yeah, that's a lot of work to do, and it might take a little bit of time to do that. First, Lion Skin has been used, and that's going to lock some players down in a position, just slow down the pace for the time being. And it just might put pressure on other different sides of the map to help this blitz get in a little bit more effectively this time around.
I think they're doing the same thing. Yeah, because they've got everybody in pretty much the exact same position as the last time. And here you go. The blitz is in. He's just working his way all the way into the site. He's got nothing to stop him besides maybe a C4, but it's going to get shot out. And that's going to give a lot of control to the blitz, but it's not going to go the opening engagement play with Coastal Gaming as the bodies all around the shield are falling. And it's going to leave Coastal Gaming in a 2v4, make it all up to the Lion as JJ comes alive as well. He's just inside of Wine, so he's good for 1, but giving away his position. And it's going to be a lot harder for him now to try and find something to work with. And he knows now that there's somebody on the flank.
Oh.
No way that grenade just downed JJ through the drone hole. It's a 1v1 now with the tie game on the line. Like another grenade going out, and it's up to the Solus to try and clutch things out. Joss has plenty of time to work with. He doesn't quite know where the Solus is. He thinks he might have somebody in blue, and he's going to get the confirm now into a confirmed 1 versus 1. Empty just working his way back in. He's got control of the diffuser, so Jodos is going to have to come to him. But I believe he might have heard where the Solus is playing. Just playing around this wine cellar pillar, and it's just going to slow down for a little bit. Neither of these players wanting to move an inch. Jodos just waiting. He knows that he's got plenty of time to work with. He's going to see if Amp can try to make the first move, trying to bait out some shots here. This is such a crucial gunfight, and he's going to win it. Jodos clutches out the 1 versus 1, and Coastal Gaming come back, and they get a flawless half. What a clutch from the Lion.
7 and 3 for Joddles, and that was an amazing clutch. Originally, Valkyrie very quick on the mark to very much really good reaction onto the initial rush. They retook site very, very quickly, but then it just came down to Joddles winning his ones, and that's the one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit was the fact that Coastal Gaming, we said we don't really know these players, and that's not like necessarily an ego thing, by the way. That's I really just haven't really seen them in
Defenders, protect your
tournaments
bombs
such
from
as
being
the
defused by
Xenon Gaming or TPO,
bomb located by
but
attackers.
like they have some really good guys on these teams, and they're showing out. Jodels is the best performing player on his team, 7 and 4. Decided not too far behind them, who's been very good, at least in the opening game of tonight, just getting those entry picks and tied up here. now going on to the defense, and now it's up to Valkyrie to try and attack.
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't a
10 seconds
flawless
to
half. I
insertion.
realized I said that, but yeah, we're tied up now. Very exciting game so far. We've
5
seen a
seconds
lot of
remaining.
aggression. Coastal Gaming finally getting back to what worked so well for them in the first game with that
Attacker's
timely and
objective is to
coordinated
defuse a bomb.
aggression. And while it did come down to a clutch, they still get the result they needed. A 3-3 half on this map. The attack will absolutely take that as they now find themselves in a fantastic position heading into the second half. They're going to head to Bar first, and they've got a lot of information available to them. They've got that Valkyrie, they've got the Legion, 2 mines to give away where the attack is coming from as well, and they've got that little bit of spice. They've got that surprise factor in the Frost mats to potentially cause chaos in the late round, as well as it's going to be a little bit of an interesting take to start things off, as Valkyrie are going to start working their way into the basement.
Yeah, this is a pretty old school strategy. Maverick onto the main snowmobile wall, open up a crouch hole, and then open up a line. And do it very silently, because Maverick is very silent. You can just open up the stock wall and then just kill the player and stop very quickly.
Okay, resisted, falling as now Empty finds another pick, and it's man advantage for Team Valkyrie. They're planting? Hello? They're just in the site. JJ's gonna get this plant down, and Coastal Gaming have no idea. They're gonna have to scramble here. You got a player on 45, but Bry has the beautiful cutoff from inside of the closet. They have no idea where the bomb has gone down, and you can see Coastal Gaming have no idea where these attackers are located as well. Bry finds another one. Another swing comes in as Jottle's looking to try and challenge on Library 1 and has potentially the idea, and he lands the shot on the player inside the connector, so things going a little bit better now for Coastal Gaming, but it's all up to the Warden now in the 1 versus 3. Just 20 seconds left, and remember, you need 7 seconds to try and get the defuse down. He's going to be running out of time. He's not going to find the 3. He's going to get 1 for his trouble, but as the timer runs low, JJ's going to clean him up from inside of the ball. He serves him up a little bit of death, serves him up a little bit of his own medicine, and Valkyrie, okay, what a statement attack from them. Maybe we're seeing a little bit more of an attacker-sided Chalet. I kind of like this.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about that site in particular, and this is why, like, even as somebody who, like, plays rank very rarely, I don't like playing that site, because really all you have to do is clear out 2 positions. That's the library corner in the, most popularly known as suicide, and then also you just have to clear out stock position. And the way that Valkyrie did that was not only did they already have that library corner pre-cleared, but then they put pressure onto the stock player, killing him instantly by way of just sneaking up the snowmobile stairs and just opening up a line in the wall. And usually some teams, just to try and deny that from happening, usually have a vertical on top mezzanine, just above the snowmobile stairs. So something like that doesn't happen, and Coastal Gaming clearly not ready for how quickly Valkyrie were able to just pounce into the site just because, well, you only need to clear 2 players. They only killed 1. They're immediately in the site, ready to play.
Well, looking ahead to round number 8, we're going to have Kitchen being brought out for Coastal Gaming's second attempt. Try to have a little bit more success than they did in the last round, and a big factor for that could be that castle, especially because you want to play upstairs like you do so many times. See these teams do when it comes to this site. You're going to need something to try and make it a little bit safer. You're going to need something to try and block off that master bedroom double window. You're going to need something to block it off and make the piano a little bit safer as well. Castle's got the perfect tools to do that, and well, it's going to be resisted, eating a little bit of damage to start things off as he's working his way through Solar. I believe Empty was the one to deal that to him, and Coastal Gaming going to be a little bit more aware of the fact that the push seems to be heavily focused on Solar, and as the push starts to come in, it's going to start putting a lot of pressure on Coastal to try and hold from above. Russ with a nice C4 to start things off, and that's going to relieve some of that pressure, thankfully.
That was on Big Window? Yeah, that was on Big Window. So that removes Empty, that's the Finka dead. And for this direct execute into Kitchen, you really need all 5 players up so that you can watch every single angle. So yeah, this is a big blow to Team Valkyrie, who might have to switch out how they want to attack this. They're just going to send a lot of people towards the Solarium stairs, and they find a kill because of the nades forcing Doodles out of his positioning. So now they're opting to do a top 4 clear. They've lost 3 players. Now they only have 3 standing against 3 on the side of Coastal Gaming, who just swing off of that contact. Now it's a 2v2, and JJ finds a double kill.
Yeah, JJ having himself a really nice game, 8-3, and playing on that Grim. You need him alive, and he's doing his job as well. trying to help with the execute as best as he can, with still finding a lot of kills, a lot of impact in these rounds. It's up to Engage, just situated inside of the site, as well as Russ to try and hold on from below now. As actually the entire top floor has been forfeited, and thankfully for Valkyrie, they've got the perfect operator to try and convert this into a lot more control. They've got that sledge on Bry. He's going to start working his way in to try and put a little bit of pressure on the site down below, and thankfully
Attackers have dropped the bomb
have the
diffuser.
potential read on the player up above, but no, it's going to be Engage to find the first pick to bring it back, and well, they're going to trade to close out the round. Engage is going to do a beautiful job of holding from above, and Coastal Gaming get the answer that they needed.
Attention direct takes just aren't working for neither one of the teams, and even on that setup that Coastal Gaming had, where they had mainly everyone off site and only one player playing inside of dining or kitchen or wherever they were, it's just only one player in sight and the rest of them on the second floor. Um, just didn't really. I don't know. It's
Defenders,
just it
protect
just
your
didn't
bomb.
really go well. That's the second time I've seen a direct kitchen site take,
Attackers have
and it's
discovered
just
the
it's
location
just
of the
gone
bomb.
in favor, like almost flawlessly in favor of the defense if it didn't come down into that 1v2 in the last few seconds. And now Bar Games is going to be the site of choice here for Coastal Gaming. Last time we saw Valkyrie attack this site, it was just very quick, very fast. They cleared stock, they cleared library corner, and then they just planted inside of site. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, when your guns are working like Valkyries did the last time we came here, there isn't really much of a need to clear
10
from
seconds
above.
to
And
insertion.
well, while they did get control of the connector, and they did actually end up losing it for a
5
moment
seconds to insertion.
on the retake, they had the control they needed. They had the angles covered perfectly as the retake came in from above. And just looking at this round, it's pretty much the exact same thing from Coastal Gaming. They've got a lot of focus being placed on above, and well, they're going to lose the opening pick once again. I'm not sure where that was from, but it's going to be Deity to find it. Actually, I believe Resisted was situated on the top of the mezzanine. That's a big loss, however, as you're going to lose your Omai. You're not going to have the magnets available to be generated throughout this round, and that's going to leave a lot of these positions, such as the back stairs and such as the areas outside the library, a little bit more exposed.
Yeah, he was trying to spawn peek over by the cliffs, and that's a pretty risky spawn peek. It's a very common one, and when you do get it off, it's very good, but he didn't, so that kind of sucks there for Coastal Gaming. You lose the Wamai, who's very pivotal for a top floor hold, especially if you put him in things like Piano Hall, where Running is situated right now, or you put him in things like Suicide Corner. But now they're looking a little bit bare on the second floor. Nobody else holding this apart from Running, who doesn't even have a shield on top Ivy.
Yeah, and that is that impact of losing the Wamai so prevalent. That shield might have had a little bit better of a chance of surviving had he been able to survive on that spawn peak. But Running, there you go, is actually going to fall as well. And potentially another one. How about it? Deity for the third, as he's just working his way down the library stairs. And the fourth one falls for Coastal Gaming. It's all up to Russ to try and save the round. He's going to get one. Finally shuts down the Twitch. But the damage is done, and they're in the site once again. JJ going for this plant, and they have the perfect read on the player inside a fireplace. Russ, if he tries to move out of here, tries to go for a retake, it's not going to go well for him, but he is able to slip by. He might find his way in, maybe find another kill. A beautiful shot from long range to try and make it a little bit closer, but that skeleton key at short range is just so strong, and it's going to be Hitman to shut him down, and Valkyrie will go up 5-4.
It's a rough round for Coastal Gaming, a rough start. Tried to spawn peek, and you know, if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, well, it's really bad, especially on important operators like Wamai. And of course, Wamai does have the 1.5, so you are able to spawn peek and you are able to go for these long to medium range engagements. That just kind of sucked because then it forces the other players on that team, once they lost a lot of that utility for that top floors. Not only did they lose the Wamai magnet, like I mentioned previously, they also lost the shield on top Ivy, meaning that they just have to get aggressive. They have nothing to help them hold that top floor for as long as possible. So you see players such as, not only was it Russ who lost the first engagement, but Running has to get aggressive. Recited has to get aggressive. Jodels, everybody on this team has to get aggressive. Whoever was on that Ivy stairs having the swing right after the Warden, he has to get aggressive too and try and go for a quick trade and then see if he can like force something to happen inside of library or in top mezzanine, which didn't happen. And Valkyrie ran away. Now one round away from potentially putting themselves on match point.
10 seconds remaining.
And the attack has actually been very strong on this map so far. We've seen Valkyrie win 2 out of the 3 attempts, which has been really good to see, and a lot of it has come down to the fact that they've been able to pressure the site, especially when it comes to attacking Bart. We've seen them get site controlled very effectively, especially because of the fact that they're able to shut down the players, trying to be aggressive like we saw in the last round on Runnin, who's now, once again, trying to be aggressive. He's playing on the Solus, trying to gain information, and trying to potentially provide a little bit of a thorn in the side for Valkyrie. You see that they are very well aware of his aggression hours. They're trying to set up air jabs, trying to set up other sorts of utility to make it a little bit harder for him to go for an aggressive jump out. And, oh, see, Recited as well, just joining Runnin over towards that north side of the map. Just not too much happening so far, but still, Valkyrie well aware of the aggression.
JJ finds that opening pick. That's onto the one site player that you probably want to keep around the Tuberal that can waste so much time with those Zoto canisters, and now that he's dead, that's going to be a big issue because Valkyrie are around the site, but then that poses an even bigger issue for Valkyrie. Instead, Recited retakes that top floor, has the hatch in his favor, and Valkyrie know that they cannot go for this execute if that hatch is fully open.
And losing that Capitao is going to be a big loss for the side of Team Valkyrie because it means that they're going to be a lot more restricted in terms of how they can actually go on the site. And there's another one to fall. Runnin allowed to go undroned inside a bar, and he's going to punish Nomad. That's your main flank push operator dead as well. But Capitao loss is even more crucial because it's going to limit your push. You can't really go for a snowmobile take anymore. And even if you try to push your way into wine slow, you don't really have the firebolts or the smokes to try and force players back. But somehow Hitman's just in the site. How does this keep happening? They're in the site again. They've worked their way into Connector, and they're taking engagement with Engage, and he's not winning them at all. They've fully taken Connector control. He's going to be filled, and Snowmobile now firmly in control of the attack. And it's another one to fall. This time Coastal Gaming gets it, but the site control doesn't seem to be working out very well at all. It's a perfect retake for Coastal Gaming. They drop through the hatches. They win that round, and they get it tied up at 5-5.
I noticed that both teams on their attack don't really bring many hard breachers. We've only seen like the Habana and the Maverick, but usually on this map in particular, especially for basement, you usually see teams bring like Thermite or the Ace, especially if you're gonna go for, even if you go for a direct site take, usually the Ace is very good for getting open the trench wall if that's fully open, but both teams have opted to have rotates in those areas or even just like head holes like Valkyrie had in their basement defenses. And the big issue in that round was just not even getting the snowmobile wall open. JJ has nowhere else to go apart from just planting in front of a reinforced wall. And then, okay, Valkyrie, what's your plan from there once you get the plant down behind the trash cans? Absolutely nothing. You have nowhere else to go. You kind of have to fight against the vertical pressure, against the retake. And it's just, all in all, very difficult for Valkyrie in the end because they just lost way too many bodies.
Well, we'll head back to the kitchen now for the penultimate round of regulation as I mean that castle being brought out once again. I actually like this from Coastal Gaming. They're trying to stall out a little bit of aggression from Team Valkyrie, try and make themselves a little bit safer, at least when it comes to their upstairs hold. And, well, you've got that mirror as well to try and gain information to the side of Coastal Gaming as to where Valkyrie wants to go from. And I mean, just looking at the attacking lineup as well, you've got a lot of execute utility being brought out. You've got that Grim, and you've got the Gridlock to try and really assist with Valkyrie. But Hitman is going to start working his way in from below to try and hold some cutoffs on these players inside a trophy.
Valkyrie's trying to go for the Solarium stairs. They've already prepped the vertical at the bottom of the stairs, and now they just need to kind of like toss some utility towards the stairs, with at least towards the Solarium stairs, at least with some purpose and movement behind it. It can't just be like we toss some utility and hope that the vertical works. Like, you just kind of have to have pressure around it, and so they're just tossing in utility. Nothing's happening behind it. No movement. Now 2 frag grenades are in. Engage has nowhere else to go because of the phantom pressure from those vertical holes at the bottom of Solarium stairs that have nobody beneath them, and that is the power of phantom pressure.
And with that, Engage having a little bit of a rougher game than what we saw originally, at least on the first half of the Clubhouse. It's 3-9 so far, and well, that's going to be a C4 off the board as well. The deity swings in, and the bodies all around Coastal Gaming are falling. Finally, a double C4 from Rust from below. How about that? To bring the man advantage back a little bit more favorable for Coastal Gaming. Just half the round gone, and half the server is dead. Now it's up to the two MPX operators. You thankfully have the Warden still on the board to try and slow down any execute utility that comes flying in his direction. Both players, I believe, from Coastal Gaming. Actually, no. Okay, just one player on the site for the moment for the defense as Russ is trying to continue his reign of terror up above. Just a little bit of a thorn in the side of Team Valkyrie here.
Don't worry about this. Bride is on a drone, and if he knows about this player, well, now he does. And now he's gonna have him run away. I mean, that gives up some extra space. They have West Main, they have Trophy. Kitchen looks to be ready, available. There's only one player in here. They can easily isolate him.
Down to about 50 seconds, but no, it's going to be... Was that a trade? No, actually, I believe... No, it was a trade. Okay. Hitman finds the final kill, however, and it's going to be Team Valkyrie getting it on to match point. They are now just one round away from qualifying for the playoffs. After a little bit of a rougher first game for them, they have very much come alive in this second half, and these attacks are something spectacular to watch.
I think the word you're looking for is ruthless. These attacks have just been ruthless,
That's a perfect
downright.
word.
Yeah, it's a perfect word, huh? It's just the perfect way to describe Valkyrie so far is that they've just been ruthless. They have so much going for them. The utility has been actually great, even though on Clubhouse, you and me talked about it a little bit. I thought the utility wasn't really all that great from neither Valkyrie or Waste of Balance. This time, it's actually been a lot better. They've used the nades for the Solarium Stairs clear, and then as soon as they clear Solarium Stairs, they just aggress off of the back of that. And sure, they give up 2 picks to 1 Nitro Cell, but they're just so good at like playing together on this map, and also just trading really well for each other. And that's just how big of a deal it's been so far here for Valkyrie, is they now put themselves on match point. Like you said, playoffs match point.
Well, we'll head back to the same site. It'll be Kitchen to try and keep Coastal Gaming in it, try and get us to overtime. And they brought the two morale out. We haven't really seen much hard breach being utilized by Team Valkyrie, at least not on this site particularly, because over to their side, no hard breaching utility available to these hacks. So the two brown not going to be quite as effective as Coastal Gaming might have hoped that it might have been. But you do have that Valkyrie, as well as the castle, once again, to try and gain a little bit of information, try and make your defense a little bit safer. But got that IQ to make it a lot harder for that Valkyrie to actually be effective. So Coastal Gaming going to be a little bit on the back foot here to start with.
Going back to the same site, not trying the same ideas. Engage is on a completely different operator. He was used in the last round, but no mirror this round. Instead, they have the castle to block off a lot of these external lines of sight. The master bedroom big window, piano, if they completely close that off, but that's probably already been dealt with by the Zofia. Impacts have been used, and yep, it's already been popped. So already some pressure used here from Valkyrie. They're making quick work of the utility game, and they're also making quick work of the first pick. Recited dies, and that's the first pick already for Valkyrie on match point.
Valkyrie have done a fantastic job in the opening rounds of this second half. They've got 5 of the last 6 opening kills all on this half, and it's really helped them convert these attacks into round wins. But a huge double from Jono's on the stairs, and he's going to find an equalizer as Bry actually is doing his job to keep Valkyrie in it. That is a huge loss, as that's all of your Solarium pressure now gone for the side of Team Valkyrie, and it's going to leave Jono's a lot safer, a lot more of a powerful position to try and keep himself safe, to try keep Valkyrie out of this top floor. You've got 2 players as well, just trying to put a little bit more pressure on Valkyrie. Here comes the jump in from Brian. Gage is going to swing here, misses the first shot, not going to get the full kill. C4 goes out, going to get shot out of the air, and now Engage is likely going to have to fall back.
Yeah, Brian has to find another fight here on the second floor. It's not completely clear, and Jolt doesn't see him. Oh, wow. And he walks straight into master bedroom. Now that Solarium control, after they lost it almost immediately, and it seems like there's another player in Hitman that Engage has to engage with, or even any sort of piano control. Instead, he's going to drop off to first floor, play closer to sight. I think that's correct.
Attackers recovered.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You just need to get both of your players back in a more advantageous position and try and hold on to the site. With just 35 seconds left, and you have the read that there isn't much hard breach being used by Valkyrie, so they're going to have to just funnel their way in through either the hatches or through Solarium, and it's not going to go well for them first, as they're going to find one, but it's going to be a 1 versus 1 between Russ and Ampty as the trades come in, and it's going to be the game on the line. The Bandit 13-7, had a fantastic game so far, but he's gonna need to do just a little bit more than
15
just sit
seconds
back and
left.
wait. He has the diffuser. Empty's gonna have to go. Just 10 seconds left, and he's got pings.
10
The Valkyrie
seconds to
camera's
go.
working so much in favor of the defense. The swing comes in. Empty's put on such low HP with just 5 seconds left. The swing, the pistol out. He's gonna have to go for it, but he isn't gonna have time. Russ is gonna stay alive by
Operator,
a
you have
split
run out of
second,
time.
and we will go to overtime on the final map of the night.
Round had just a little bit of everything from the initial Solarium clear to the 2K on Solarium stairs because Valkyrie didn't deal with the trophy pressure properly. Also, then at the last minute of it, all of the information from the Valkyrie cameras, IQ, and then just abandoned playing it safe because he had all the information. He knew not to push. He knew not to over aggress. He also missed the shots too. So playing it safe was also the right idea after you miss your shots. And now we're into OT. Valkyrie had that opportunity to end the game here and now to put themselves into
Attackers need to
playoffs
locate
because
and defuse
I
the
thought they've been playing exceptionally well on the attack and it started off really, really well. They just had that small little oversight on the Solarium player or trophy player at the bottom at the bottom of the Solarium stairs.
Heading into overtime now, don't really know who this favors because of the fact that we've seen 3-3 halves. And while it probably favors Valkyrie just because of the fact that they've done a great job of shutting down the aggression overall from Coastal Gaming, it's been kind of a toss-up in this game. We're going to head back down to Wine Cellar. Just looking back, this is a site that was won by Coastal Gaming when they
5
were on the
seconds to
defense.
insertion.
They went 1-1 on it, and a lot of it came down to the fact that they
Attackers must
were able to
locate
shut
and
down the
defuse
push
bomb.
into the site when they retake that second time.
Let's take a deep breath because so far it's just been, we talked about how aggressive both teams are, and
Attackers
that's
drop the
it's just
bomb
you don't really get a second
Attackers recover
when
the
teams are like this aggressive to just like take a breather and just like I don't know, realize the matchup we have in front of us so far. And JJ's trying to put some pressure on the trophy. Recited's here. Drone pops in, and JJ almost life.
That would have been such a big engagement there if Recited had been actually able to win that, but nonetheless, the Valkyrie going to be able to survive. A lot of that flank watch utility still up as well, and I don't know if they have the read. That Recited is still here. He's been able to cross out and get back to a little bit of a safer position,
Attackers have
and
located a bomb.
while you have that going on, you've still got 2 players from Coastal Gaming on the 3rd floor, and you've got Valkyrie trying to read into this, trying to go for the clear out, but they don't have a lot of support. You can see Hitman just all alone up above, and he's actually going to fall back. He's going to rotate down towards Fireplace because they don't want to commit too much time and too much resources to try and clear these guys out when they really don't have to.
Yeah, and even going for a double build take, you have to try and clear this top floor. If you want to fully clear out mezzanine, you have to clear out everything. And so that's why you see Valkyrie and also most teams when they attack on Chalet, attack from the back side. You don't really have that much to clear. All you have to clear is Dining and Solarium, and then just attack from there because really all you have to watch is that Dining catch. MT finds 2. That's site control in favor of Valkyrie with the plant going down.
Again, just
Attackers are
Team
activating
Valkyrie have
bomb
full
diffuser.
control of the site. Coastal Gaming, because of their aggression, they have no idea. They are miles away from the objective. Running was the perfect operator to try and read this, but as you can see, he's just all the way upstairs. He had no idea about the plan. He doesn't even have any idea of how to retake because he can't drop this talent without being felled because there's 2 players watching it. It's all going in favor of Team Valkyrie as it's left to Russ on a sliver of HP and an impossible situation. It looks like Valkyrie should be in a perfect spot to try and get themselves on an overtime match point, try and re-secure themselves a chance to qualify for playoffs. It's going to be a trade to close things out. Valkyrie, beautifully done on the attack onto the basement. They don't lose control of the site that time. Get that plant down, and the rest, well, history.
Yeah, history, and it could be history in the very next round here for Valkyrie to put themselves on a match point, like you mentioned. And it's an immediate timeout call from Coastal. They realize just how close the possibility of them potentially just missing playoffs in this one matchup is, and so they want to talk things over. But really, I'll be honest with you, that last round from Valkyrie just it's like that clear. It wasn't even necessarily a clear. They didn't even fully clear out the top floor. The one thing that I really liked that they did was they used the Capital boats to smoke out the hatch because they knew they didn't have full control of it, and also because there wasn't a Valkyrie, not Valkyrie, a Warden on the side of Coastal Gaming or anybody who was in a position to see through the smoke anyways, it kind of makes that very difficult for Coastal Gaming, who, even though they have some map control, they don't really have any site control. Valkyrie just take full advantage yet again.
What could be the final round of the night is going to be back on the same site we just saw. We're going to head back down to Wine Cellar, and the last couple times when we saw Coastal Gaming attack this site, they were really aggressive with the direct site take, and they've utilized the Blitz as well as the
Attackers need to
Capital very
locate and
effectively. We
defuse as
aren't going
many
to see a
bombs as
Blitz
they
at least
can.
at the moment, but we do have that Capital, so potentially could be seeing a more Snowmobile Garage focused attack here. But I mean, I kind of like the fact that Coastal Gaming have been aggressive on this site because of the fact the Blitz was able to get a lot of site control, especially when they had the Captain combined with the Ying. So maybe we see Coastal Gaming decide to go for a little bit more of a conventional top-down clear here, but why change something when it worked well for them in the first half?
Seems like, yeah, Valkyrie aren't gonna really change too much apart from the operator lineup, and actually they've changed quite a bit. I'm completely wrong on this. They have a shield just outside of the trench area. They have an Ella this time around and not a Mira. They also have a shield this time around on the wine rack, when originally they didn't have this much site set up in the first place. It was just like a couple of mirror windows and some duct tape, and then have JJ hold site with his teammate, and I think it was Hitman, holding the back most of the time. So this is like a different type of setup. And Coastal Gaming, they've tried this direct take time or twice in a row, the two times that Valkyrie have played this site in regulation. So clearly expecting it again, and it looks like Coastal Gaming are going to do it again, but maybe take it a little bit slower.
Well, Valkyrie are doing pretty much the exact same thing that Coastal Gaming did when they were on defense this site, and that's doing a very heavy roam presence. You can see 3 members, at least for the moment, off-site. You got Bry working his way all the way over inside of games, but not going to be anyone over there to try and take a fight with him, at least for the moment. But Deity is in a little bit more of an advantageous position to try and get the opening engagement. You can see players outside of West Main. You can see players down inside of the big garage, and well, if he has the hatch open, he can potentially drop and provide a little bit of a surprise factor later in this round. The question is, however, do Coastal Gaming know he's here, and do they really want to deal with a solo? I mean, you've got the IQ to potentially spot him out, but I mean, they've already burned a minute and a half, and they don't really have much control.
Loading new mag.
Oh, Bry takes a peek, immediately dies. That's excited to find the first kill, and that's some support over by the dining hall. I really hope Coastal Gaming aren't trying to initiate themselves inside of the fireplace round, simply because there's just so many angles to clear. JJ gets aggressive, finds another kill, and finds the immediate or the eventual trade onto a Coastal Gaming player. So that immediately makes the man count even. But Coastal Gaming still have this map control going in their favor, and it looks like they also have somebody on the West Main stairs. So dining is potentially free, meaning that wine is free. Actually, DD's still up there. So if they do try to go for the direct take, they have to be wary of that hatch.
JJ just holding a long angle, and he's supporting Hitman, who's just situated inside the pillar of Wine Cellar. Not too much action coming out for the moment, as the setup seems to be moving in for a direct take onto Wine Cellar for the side of Coastal Gaming. The fire bolt's going to come in on the Captain's out, and into the site goes the attack. It's going to be engaged to find the opener on his way in, and this Coastal Gaming have full control of the site. The plant's going to be going down, but no! Deity from above shuts it down. This Solus is a huge factor in this round as he goes on drone and is able to punish the attack. Just 25 seconds left, but finally Joddles is able to bring something back. That's Solus up above, so he's going to be a huge factor as well. I have no idea that he's still up, and the plant is going to have to go down soon. But said the Solus is the perfect operator to stop it. It's all up to the Solus now, however. His run-in gets another pick. He's still up above, still holding this hatch. The drop's going to come in. The smoke's going to dissolve. He's going to not even find the planter as it's running to cover his teammate perfectly. And we will need 15 rounds of Chalet to settle it between these two teams. They go back and forth, blow for blow. We've seen even halves the entire time, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The playoffs spot is so very coveted, and it's going to come down to this final round, and Coastal Gaming are not going to head to the defense, and it's going to be Bar to settle things up.
2 games out of 2 from both the group state matches going into the OT match point situation. And this just so happens to be the most important of them all, because this is playoff point. This is really, it's not your last chance to get into playoffs if you do lose, but it kind of like,
Attackers need to locate
it may just feel that way, because this is like a really good chance for either team to get into playoffs in just
Attackers have located a
one
bomb.
map instead of going through like a whole ordeal in a best of three on a weekend on a weekend day, which is tomorrow and Sunday. So this is your last chance, Valkyrie and Coastal, to just kind of like establish yourselves in this game. But it's only one of you who's gonna be able to make it through and go to guard gaming. And it seems like the default setup here for Coastal Gaming, and Valkyrie might be trying to do the same thing again, where they get aggressive and they just try and take Coastal Gaming off guard. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they might be expecting it this time.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Weirdly enough, the round count is in favor of the attacking side right now. So just based off of that, Valkyrie have to have a huge advantage here, especially because this has been the site that Coastal Gaming have really struggled to hold on to. We've seen Valkyrie go for direct takes multiple times, get control of the site, get the plant down, and Coastal Gaming have really struggled on the retake. I feel like if Team Valkyrie does that again, they might be able to put Coastal Gaming in a really tight corner.
Last round of Chalet confirmed, because we do not have unlimited overtime in the group stage matches, not in a best of one. So now it's up to Valkyrie to kind of set the pace in this round, which they have done really, really well, but this time it really, really matters. And so far, like, it's just under a minute. Putting pressure onto the second floor. Also have somebody posted up outside of the main door in the bottom fireplace, just to put some pressure onto the mezzanine player, which they want to take full control of this top floor. That's the focus.
Well, the good news is for Coastal Gaming is, at least in this round, they haven't lost a body in the first minute. Remember, one of the last times we came here, it was running to get aggressive, and they died on a spawn creep. And here comes the jump in. And that's going to work out really well as Hitman finds the opener from outside of the split window, takes down the player top mezzanine, and full library control now in favor of Valkyrie. They've got the player situated for the cutoffs. Finally, a trade does come back, though, as Coastal Gaming is able to respond, and players from the top floor are just going all in favor of Team Valkyrie. The players up above just falling to Hitman, and the rest of the squad is all up to engage in Rust. Now, to punch the 2 versus 4, they've got over a minute that they're going to have to work with. So they're going to have to try and get aggressive and try and find it back.
Great flashes used there from Team Valkyrie to eliminate a lot of the crossfires and a lot of the help for the mezzanine players. Just run in and kill the mezzanine player so that Valkyrie have full top floor control. But JJ's caught in a cross map. I heard him get snapped up. And so now he's going to get picked up, going to be able to put the plant down, and Valkyrie have the full top floor map control with Hitman, and now engage the last player alive, but he can't quite confirm a kill. It's pride to end out things in Team Valkyrie to win out Chalet and be the second team to be confirmed alongside 5 other teams for the playoffs here for the Spring Burst.
Well, Valkyrie's going to get the 8-7 victory. The best of one's going to go in their favor. Beautifully done by them. Once again, reading into the fact that the site was up. So you saw JJ work his way and get that plant down. And, I mean, that site ended up really being the downfall of Coastal Gaming. We saw so many rounds where that happened. I believe it just comes down to the fact that they might be overextending themselves a little bit, playing too much into the aggression that we keep seeing them bring out, unfortunately.
Yeah. I also thought, you know what, as a positive for Valkyrie and as a positive for Valkyrie, because I felt like on Clubhouse, there were a lot of things that I just didn't really like, especially with their utility game. I thought their utility game in Chalet was just a lot more solid. And I think we talked about this. There was like one round where Valkyrie didn't even use any flashes for like a jacuzzi push on Clubhouse. And that last round, they used the flashes very well to disable how many crossfires and how many positions were set up on that top floor, and to help initiate aggression and make it more effective for them to clear that top floor. And I thought Valkyrie had a very good game here on Chalet, despite how close the game was. And even the same goes for Coastal.
Well, like we said, Coastal's got a little bit more of a tough path to get themselves to playoffs. They're not done yet, but the easiest way in is now out of the question for them. Is it's going to be Valkyrie confirmed as our second team for the playoffs, as we saw yesterday. A team from Group A made it, and look at that, just beautiful double C4 from Russ. And we saw a lot of that in this game. We saw a lot of those beautiful solo plays from both sides. I mean, beautiful stuff from them. Coastal Gaming, very strong future ahead of them. They had that aggression. They just need to work a little bit more on realizing when the roam is a little bit too much and when to fall back to sight.
Yeah, and I think that kind of just it speaks to like the lack of experience, because like we said for Valkyrie numerous amount of times, they have a bunch of experience on their team. These are players that have played in E2. Bri played in that wild card Aces team, and JJ, MT, DD, and Hitman played on, well, Hitman didn't, he played on Packer Stars Disciples, whereas the rest of them, JJ, MT, and DD played on the Valkyries roster that, although they did finish low, still an Element 2 team, and so that demands a lot of respect. And I think Coastal Gaming have earned a lot of my respect today, because not only did they defeat a good team on a good map on Clubhouse in Bros Without Hoes, but they also beat Valkyrie on one of their best maps in Chalet, or almost did.
Yeah, fortunately, they came just a little bit too close, but couldn't quite push it over the hump at the end. But we've got a little bit of a special guest coming, as we've got JJ from Team Valkyrie ready to interview. And I mean, what a great game to end the night with. And JJ, can you hear me, sir? How are you feeling?
What's up, Nomical? How we doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, man. What a great game on Chalet. And just a couple questions for you. I mean, heading into tonight, Coastal Gaming wasn't really that well of a known team. Did you kind of expect that aggression throughout most of the game from them?
I don't know. I just know Gav running, and I lost a Pox Unlock CL qual to that kid, and then he like quit for a year. So I just knew I wanted to beat Gav running. I consider those guys like T4 in my opinion. I mean, good GGSM, they went 8-7 versus us and everything, but I think if you look at that game, there were like way more rounds where like we were in control that like we kind of threw. Like the second basement attack they won was only because like the nade through the drone hole ended up getting me, and they clutched like a 3v1. And then the third basement attack they won in overtime. They won like the 2v2 if I just crouch behind the shield. So some like situational mistakes. So I don't know. Those guys they're a decent team, but they're definitely more on the T4 spectrum than the T3 even spectrum. So.
And that was going to be my next question, is when did you guys kind of realize that this team of Coastal Gaming was maybe overextending their aggression a little bit too much? And kind of like you realized that, hey, maybe if we push the site a little bit more, it would kind of work in more in our favor rather than going for that roam clear. What kind of like prompted you guys to kind of go into that style?
No, it wasn't even like they did anything. That's just how we were playing, and it was working. We were just kind of calling off what they were doing like the stuff we're comfortable with, and it was working easily. I just don't really think they had an answer for us on attack unless it was like us throwing a situational for the most part. So they got like pretty lucky on like, yeah, there's one I think kitchen dining site that another like 2v1 that Brian and I were, or it was like a 2v2, I don't know, but like Brian and I were in it, and like I had full fun to do it, and like I didn't wait for Brian to swing. So I think we didn't really have to change much for them on attack or defense even.
And does it kind of build you guys up, at least in terms of confidence, knowing that you're capable of dealing with any sort of opponent, just because of the fact that, well, you guys have kind of been playing together for a little bit longer? Sorry, I kind of lost the question there, but basically what I'm asking is, do you guys feel like you know kind of how you want to play it heading into playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we have our core right now of a team, but like right now we're like in a weird spot. We just made a roster move. Rivals are like out of town this weekend, so we have Empty in. Roles are like all over the place. In my opinion, like we have a lot of raw potential right now, but like even with the roster change we made, we have to like switch roles around because like Bri for Spider is not like a straight up swap role wise. So in my opinion, like I'm just happy we found a way to get it done today. People forget that like they're not supposed to run skins in comp. So I'm just happy we found a way to get the wins no matter how we got them. I'm gonna get it how I get it, and that's no debate. But just like I can't wait to get a little scrim time in, and actually kind of like iron stuff out and figure stuff out. But for right now, I'm happy with how the team played.
Well, there's definitely no debate. You guys were the better team tonight, and I'll give you just a minute here to open it up and say thank you to all the viewers and all the fans.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, thank you XGS viewers. Glad XGS is back. This is a little fun time. Anyway, I gotta do some shout outs. I got a lot of shout out. Shout out my boy Bri. Shout out Deity. Shout out Ampy. Shout out Hitman. Shout out Rival. There's some old people that I would used to shout out maybe on Wildcard Gaming Aces, but there's a lot of snakes in the grass, if you know what I mean. one name starts with a B and ends with an O. One person has like roid rage right now, and one person might start trying soon. We don't know. But when they do start trying, it won't matter because they're not better than us. Anyway, that's all I got. GG's, everyone. Appreciate everyone watching. Fun games tonight.
Indeed. Well, we'll let you go. I know you guys have a lot of prep work to do for next week for playoffs. So have a good night, JJ. Thanks for the great games tonight, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, Chaka, what do you think about that? JJ obviously with a little bit of confidence there. He feels good after that. And I have to say, they look good as well.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, every time I see a JJ interview, it's always a fun time. But like, yeah, I think the biggest question that I had was about like a lot of the roster changes, and it wasn't like I was questioning them in a negative way. It was because like I know Neo and Marm left up some big shoes to fill with how good they are as players. And once they both left, I was like, well, who are Valkyrie going to get? Because JJ is obviously not going to stop playing. MT and DD are still very young players with a lot of potential, and I didn't see them being shipped off from this roster anytime soon. So I was wondering who their fourth and fifth were going to be. And when I saw Spider and Rival on the same team together with this team, I was like, oh, well, that's actually like a pretty solid roster. Then Hitman joined, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually like very good. So hopefully they do find that ground, and once they get their full roster running together, it'll be amazing, I think, for Valkyrie and for JJ.
Yeah, and just one thing to note about this game, really, it was that injury engagement that was the
Yeah.
difference. You saw Coastal Gaming, look at that. 0-3, 0-2, 3-4, just a lot of entry deaths for Coastal Gaming. And I mean, that really was the difference. Like I said, because of the fact that those entries allowed openings for Valkyrie to just work their way into the site. So a little bit for Coastal Gaming to clean up potentially heading into their next matchup. But still, they have a lot of good things to work on and build off of from this game as well.
Yeah, you said the entries as well. You mentioned it mid-game, 5-1 between JJ and Deity. JJ is not somebody who usually entries on the game. He's usually playing somebody like the Grim, like we saw a couple of times. He'll play like a Zoph here and there. He's played Thermite. He's played a lot of support operators. He's the type of person who plays on site and who's doing the calls from the back as his teammates entry in the map. So to see him like get a lot of these entry kills and be one of the top performers of today, I'm very happy for JJ, and I'm also very happy for Hitman, because Hitman, a player that I don't usually talk about, Hitman is one of my at a T3, T2 level, and I'm happy to see him prospering with a roster that's allowing him to do what he wants.
And I mean, like we said, Coastal Gaming, they're not done yet. They've still got one more best of 3 to potentially qualify, and they'll verse the winner of tomorrow's match between Bros Without Hose and Wasted Talent on Sunday. So they'll have some time to potentially do a little bit of VOD review and try and figure out how to best focus on that game, because that game will be a best of 3. So that'll be a little bit more of a test for Coastal Gaming and maybe stress their map pool a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at the map pools for Coastal Gaming in particular, I noticed that they didn't really have that large of a map pool, so forcing them in a best of 3 is going to be something that I look forward to in their decider match against whoever they decide to play against. And yeah, I'm excited for Bros Without Hose versus Wasted Talent. That game is going to be a firecracker.
Oh yeah, I mean, just looking at how both those two teams play tonight, I feel like we'll see a lot of players jumping out of buildings and jumping out of windows, just spawn peeking all over the place. I mean, we saw it tonight. Just look at how Rose that host played, Mike W in particular. We know that's kind of how he likes to play. So that one should be a barn burner. But I mean, that's about it, Chaka.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. And I think that'll be it for me and you, Nomical. It's been an exciting day of groups. Group A is almost finished alongside Group B. And now we wait for it to finish this week because playoffs are just next weekend. We'll see you guys soon. Come back tomorrow and Sunday too for some more games here in the XGS Spring Burst.